Hi guys, welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk a bit about session attributes in Alexa skills. So that is what we are going to discuss it here today. Why do we need session attributes? So session attributes are something uh, which are particular to one session in an Alexa skill. Say for example, when you launch an Alexa skill, till that skill is being destroyed, you have a session kept by the system. So within that session, if you want to keep hold of some data or something like that, you can use session attributes for that. I will demonstrate one example where in which you really need to use these session attributes. So I have a skill here. This is a skill just for demo purpose. So this is just like a random skill. So what that skill does is it will ask you a question and expect some answer from you. And once you answer the question, it will ask you whether you want another question. Then you have to answer it through yes or no. So what happens here is whenever the system is expecting you for a particular type of answer and you give a different type of answer, how the system will behave. For example, you have been asked a question and you are supposed to reply with a number. The system was expecting a number. Instead, you replied maybe yes or no. But you have a yes or no implemented as a different intent. So it is very highly likely that those intents get invoked. Now what happened is your flow of the skill is now destroyed. So you were waiting for an answer which is a number, but instead now the flow has gone to a different place, like an yes or no question or yes or no response. So let's see it in action, like what I meant. So I have already created this sample app. So let's do a quick test. What happens? I just gave the name as guess the answer. So once you launch the skill.
Welcome to number. Answer this. What is the answer of 9 plus 9? What is the answer of 9 plus 9?
So here you are expected to reply by a number. So I just give 18 over here. So you will
correct answer.
You will
Do
get.
you want another one?
So here you will get like, okay, I have told the correct answer. So now it is asking me whether you want another question. Right now it will repeat the same question. So I just had only one question in place. So let's say I will say yes.
Welcome to number. Answer this. What is the answer of 9 plus 9? What is the answer of 9 plus 9?
So here now comes the problem. Let's say I respond it as yes instead of a number.
Welcome to number. Answer this. What is the answer of 9 plus 9? What is the answer of 9 plus 9?
So now you know what has happened. Instead of going to the correct intent, it just invoked the yes intent handler, which means like you are going to get a new question. So that is what has happened. Let's say if I give no here, no is for like to stop the game, like okay, I don't want any more questions, so I am giving no as an answer to this. So now what happens
Enjoy
is
the day. Goodbye.
Your skill is now ended. So now you can see the problem. Like if you don't handle the different questions or the different intents in the proper way, there will be a high chance of intents getting mixed. So how do we solve this problem? So I have solved this problem using something called the session attributes. So let's see it in action. Okay, I have created this as a Alexa hosted skill. So you have the code editor in place. So these are like some basic stuff, like skill name, different messages like help, stop, skip, etc. A few messages as here. Now here comes the change. So I have introduced certain states here. So when the game has started, we keep it as started, uh, and when the system is waiting for a question, we keep the state as waiting. And once the user have answered, or once the user has stopped the game or something like that, we mark the state as ended. But in a nutshell, we are bothered about this waiting status. That is what we really want. And on launch request, once we get the launch request, we just use this get a question function, when which we have a question defined. So as you can see, so in this get a question, we just prepare a Alexa response. So here we start with welcome to the skill name, then just prepare a question. So in this function, we just create this question. So I have just hard coded it, what is the answer of 9 plus 9, just like that. Once we have the question, we just construct this, like answer this message. These are all just message, and then add a pause Amazon effect. Then after that, we set the current state of the game as waiting, and then send the speech object back to the launch request handler. Okay, so here comes the main change. So save current state with handler input. So you have this handler input instance over here. Now we'll just go to this save current state. So here you can see right now the code is being commented, so I'm going to uncomment that. So first step is you are going to get the attributes manager from the handler input. Then from there you are going to get the session attributes, and in the session attributes you are going to set the game state as current state. So you don't, I mean, session attribute as such doesn't have any property or something like that. You can define this, can be like just state or something else, doesn't matter. You just need to give a name and set the value for that. So that's it. So now we have a function which can save the current state of the skill. So in the launch request, we know that whenever the skill is being launched, immediately a question will be popped up. So once a question is popped up, you of course are waiting for an answer. So you just set the state, okay, I am waiting for the answer. Fine. Now when during this time, let's say when the user respond as the keyword for any of the existing indent handler, like for example yes or no. So let's see how it is being handled. So we have this yes indent handler. Let's say now the current state is waiting, and user has asked responded by saying yes. So now the yes indent handler will be invoked, and here is the change. So I have created a local variable is waiting for answer. I just marked it as true. Now I'm going to fetch the current saved state. Okay, so right now I just commented this. So here again you are passing an instance of handler input. I just prepared these things as small functions so that I can reuse it. So here we get the attributes manager, then again session attributes, and we are just checking, okay, if someone has set this game state, if someone has set this game state, just take that state and put it to the current state, which is a global variable, and return the current state. If nothing has been set, then set it as fresh. So that's what this does. So let's go back to yes. Okay, so right now what you have got is the state is waiting. So I am just checking if the state is not equal to waiting, then set the is waiting for answer as false. That means if it is waiting, then is waiting for answer is true. And here in the can handle function, we just add this variable also. So we are telling the system that if the intent request, if the request type is intent request, and if it is an yes intent, and if it is not waiting for an answer, then only handle it, else throw it to a fallback. So that is what we are going to discuss next. What's going to happen to such a request which cannot be handled. So those requests which cannot be handled go to a fallback intent handler. So in the fallback intent handler, we need to mention like what all fallback intents we can be taken care by the fallback intent handler. So we have kept this yes intent over here. So the system will send the request now to fallback intent handler. So here again we will get the current saved state. So we have right now the state is waiting, then we just pass this state to another function which is fallback. So what it does, it just prepares the right text for the context. So first step is like we just assign the general fallback messages. We will just have a look at those messages. The general fallback is like the skill name. For example, right now the skill name is number. Skill name number can help with that, but I can help you finding a question. So and it's asking for a reprompt like do you shall I fetch you a question. So that way you have a fallback created. So now the scenario is like you have asked a question, the user responded by yes or no, which can invoke another intent handler, and there we have handle using the session attributes. So it comes to the fallback. So fallback will tell okay, right now this cannot be handled, do you want to handle, do you want a new one. Okay, so that is the default fallback message, but in this case we will be firing a another fallback. So this is the default one. So if the state is waiting, then we have another fallback message which is a message during the game. So what it does is like the skill name can't help you with that, please try answering the question, or maybe you can skip the question. So instead of giving a user another option to have a new question or something like that, it will ask you to just answer the question. So it for example yes, saying yes or no will invoke this fallback. So thereby you are keeping the flow, the system is not out of your flow. So where is it? Okay, so similarly I have no. So even if you say no, the same approach is being followed. So in the no intent handler also we have the same condition. Like first we set is waiting for answer as true, and we fetch the state, and if it is not waiting, then we set it as false. And in the condition we will tell okay, if it is no longer waiting for the answer, then only handle it, else fire it back to the fallback. And here the fallback will tell okay, you are in the middle of a question, you have to answer that, and you have responded with another intent handler thing. What else? Okay, now let's say another scenario would be like you are expecting a yes or no answer, and at that point of time the user responded with a number, for example 18, 20 or something like that. So which can invoke this answer intent handler, because answer is expecting some number. So here we need to say like, okay, if you are not waiting for an answer, then you should not handle it, because it is not your thing to handle. So first we will check, we will put like is waiting for answer as true, and if the game state is not waiting, we set it as false. And only if the uh, waiting for answer is true, then only the answer intent handler should handle this, else it should be thrown to the fallback. So here also in this case the fallback will tell that okay, right now this system cannot handle whatever you have said, but it can find you a question. So that way it is seamlessly or gracefully handled. So yeah, I think yeah, I have an additional thing called skip, which we are not using it. Like if you say skip, it will skip a question and go to another one. Cool. So yeah, so that is pretty much the use of session attributes. What one thing which I have seen here is keeping global variables to track will not help, because as I understand, like once your skill is uploaded and alive, the moment user starts the first session or the first time the app is started, it is never being ideally killed. It's like a Nodejs server, it's up and running, I think. So I have tried using the global variables, it didn't work, because first time it worked and later it all messed up. So that's why I ended up in using the session attributes. So yes, now we have all the code in place. Let's check, let's deploy. Okay, deploy is successful. Let's do this.
Welcome to number. Answer this. What is the answer of 9 plus 9? What is the answer of 9 plus 9?
Okay, now the game state has been set as waiting. Let's type as yes.
The number skill can't help you with that. Try answering the question.
So now we can see this has been gracefully handled. Let's give no.
The number skill can't help you with that. Try answering the question.
So this session attributes will avoid you from triggering your own intent handler, which is already in your code. Now let's give a proper answer.
Correct answer. Do you want another one?
There is no error check, so it just whatever, if you give any answer it will say as correct. So it's just for demo purpose. Now this expects a yes or no answer, so let me give a number to that.
Number skill can't help with that, but I can help you with finding a question for you to guess. Shall I fetch you one?
So now you can see, right, the fallback message also changed accordingly to the state. So this way you can gracefully handle the errors or inconsistent behaviors. So let me give yes here.
Welcome to number. Answer this. What is the answer of 9 plus 9? What is the answer of 9 plus 9?
See, so now this is being seamlessly handled. Yeah, that was pretty much I wanted to tell about. Okay, I will put this code in the description so you can have a look and use it wherever you need it. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.